Now we're getting close to the best garden hack that you'll ever see, but I hope you haven't fast forwarded. Don't be that guy. Stay with us. We're almost there. Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And welcome to garden tour number 2. All right, it has been a couple weeks since we did our first garden tour. Here at the beginning, we usually space it out a couple weeks before it gets closer to weekly, because not a whole lot's happening. Yeah. However, in a 2-week span, we've had a lot of growth, a lot of changes, and some complete tear outs. And now this is what you're gonna see. So starting off with garden planter number 1 from Green Stock, our strawberries. They are out here doing great. And these have become our little snacks that we have every morning.
Breakfast.
Literally breakfast. Because it's been so hot here in Kentucky that as soon as we get done with our chores, milking and all that good stuff, we come straight to the garden and start weeding. Yeah. And getting that under control, because by the time the day hits, it's so hot and we're not even getting relief at night right now. So this is about the only time we can do it.
So this is our along the greenhouse bed, and there hasn't been too much growth here. I think it gets a lot of shade, which is just something that we kind of have to watch and learn. But it is growing. Some of the echinacea is doing good.
Yeah, look at this one, this random one right here, like just being a trooper, and everybody else staying small as well.
Yep, and some of the zinnias are doing really good. They're getting big. And of course the Sweet Williams that we love, they're doing awesome. We need to start clipping them so they'll cut off more blooms, but we really like these. It's our first year with them. They were a gift, and I think it's something we'll probably try to maybe start from seed next year.
All right, then over here we have the kids' garden. Wyatt, he needs to come over here and tie up his tomato. It's starting to fall over pretty good, but it's doing great. Everything else in here is looking pretty good. They're doing good with getting the weeds out and just really having them take off. So this is Wyatt's bed. Over here, Raylan needs to do a little bit more weeding on hers. It's a little bit more full. But all of hers is doing good. She's got some strawberries over there. Oh, should be nice to see that. There's a strawberry right there. All right, you ready for the first, well, it's not a failure, but it's not what we expected.
Well, before we talk about a failure, I want to talk about how good this looks, because me and Wyatt weed eated yesterday.
They sure did.
Around the beds and around everything, and it looks really good. So I can't handle his big steel weed eater, but Carol has a battery powered one, so I tried that and I could do it, and Wyatt could too. So we got it all done. It looks really good. And
I'm super excited about it because that's less I have to do.
So this is the pea bed, and it is unfortunately done. However, that's a pea. I did harvest a whole little cup full yesterday. Overall, we were not satisfied, but a few of them did take off and do really good and start putting off blooms. Like this one's got peas on it. So we have harvested a little bit, just not the pea year that I wanted. If you know, I talked about canning all of them and just having a huge pea year, but that was not a success. And now that we are hitting the 90s, it's time to rip out the peas. I'm not totally sure what we'll put here yet. What do you think?
I'm eating peas, you're good.
I don't want to take the cattle panels down.
No, we have some leftover tomatoes we're probably planting here. Probably some cucumbers, and then maybe some winter squash, and just let them kind of grow all over the cattle panels.
Maybe some pole beans too.
Yeah, pole beans would be good.
Because they'll be quick.
I did want to mention, because you're seeing this bed and you're like, it got taken over by weeds, that's why nothing succeeded. It's not true.
Daisy, no ma'am.
This bed itself, for whatever reason, had a lot of weeds. I mean, we take care of this stuff and we was working on it really hard, but it got out of control. Yeah. So when we do tear this out, we're gonna do some amending and try to maybe add a little bit more soil. The soil level might be a little low, because when you look at the other beds, you're gonna see the lack thereof of weeds. And we put the same effort into all the beds. It's just this one specifically, something in the soil or something really just took off. And
it really
there was weeds
is.
everywhere.
It's a huge difference in the amount of weeds.
It is, so. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but somehow the weed seeds got all up in this bed, and so we'll have to figure out how to control that.
Going forward, we might just have to mulch extra on this one.
Right,
but
heavy.
Yeah, not the pea year I wanted, but we are going to try again in the fall.
That's right. And then here in our root pouch from Hoss Tools are our Jerusalem artichokes. They are growing like weeds, but it is insane how fast they're growing. Curious to see what's going on underneath. Like we had mentioned in the last one, this is our first year growing Jerusalem artichokes, so we'll see. We're learning as we go here on these. All right, big success story number 1 is our cabbage. Look how pretty that is, man. That looks like a thumbnail pic right there. That's pretty. We had mentioned how we were going to get the cloth on it. We haven't got to it yet, but that is going to be done today because we are definitely hitting the heat levels to where we have got to get it on, and they're going to start eating the fire
Yeah, I mean,
out of it.
everything looks great, but there are a few that have a couple holes, so it's past time, but it'll still be okay. If we get it on now, they won't be able to damage any further. But I am so excited about this cabbage. It's beautiful.
I am too. Lots of sauerkraut coming our way.
Sauerkraut.
And you can see the heads really forming well in there. That's the cool thing about these, is being able to watch them and literally see them add their layers on. It's very neat to watch. What happened to your broccoli, babe?
Unfortunately, about 90% of it went to seed. Not all of it, though. There are still a couple. So what we're probably going to do is use the leaves in some way, save the seeds, take them out, and then replant something quick, because in the fall I do want to use this again for cold crops as a cold crop bed. So it'll have to be something quick that goes in.
Then over here is Jen's line of herb beds that she's got going on, and they are all doing great. One thing to remember about first year herbs, they're a little slow to grow. When everybody talks about how they'll take over a bed, that's usually the second year when they're reseeding, and it takes off from there. But our rosemary's doing really good. Over here is basil.
Yep, 2 different kinds of basil. Just a regular basil and then a different one. I can't remember what it is.
I think it's Italian.
But both of them are doing really good.
Over here we have 2 oregano plants that have grown very well. Over here, Jen loves these, but it was kind of my persuasion that got these in here. These are 2 roselle hibiscus, and they are starting to take off, and I know they look so small, but I promise y'all by the end of the season, they're gonna be huge bushes. So that's why we only have 2 in here, one there and one here. They take forever to grow. It's a lot like a gourd kind of plant. They'll take off and they take forever to flower, but they'll get there. You just gotta have patience with it.
This is the lavender bed. Again, small, but next year hopefully much bigger, and hopefully it'll take over the whole thing. But I'm really excited to have some lavender.
And you know you got good soil when you get your mushrooms growing in here. And then here is our calendula. So it's very spacey. Some are really growing well and some are still staying a little small. But we just added some liquid fish to it last night, so I'm excited to see some pretty good growth here. The problem I think really with this one is this tree. As you can tell, it gets a lot of good morning light, but as the afternoon hits, it gets a little shady there. So we might have to readdress that next year, but I still feel like we're gonna have a good calendula year. Now, the next 3 things you're gonna see are 3 ginormous success stories so far. All 3 beds are doing really well. The weeds have been under control, and everything has got great growth since the last time y'all saw us.
So we direct sowed okra here, and it's hard to see, but there is quite a bit that's came up. They're small, but okra, you know, once it's up and once it gets what it needs, it'll just absolutely take off. And we'll have okra running out of our ears, which we love, because we love okra. I know a lot of people don't, but it's one of our favorites for pickling and frying and just doing all the things with it. And then coming down the line, we've got our squash and pumpkins and zucchini. They're looking really good. We did give these fish fertilizer last night just to kind of give them an extra boost, but they're all doing great. Cross your fingers and knock on wood, there's no squash bugs yet this year. It's still a little early, but hopefully it stays that way. And then coming down is our peppers. Some of them are big, some are very small. It's just kind of how it's going.
And
but
some already have fruit.
yeah, some
That's
already have fruit.
Poblano.
And then others have blooms, so we'll have fruit very soon. But I think it's gonna be a good pepper year after all.
And in each corner of the beds, we planted sunflowers. So we've already missed a few of them to show you all, but several have already popped up. And then right here on this first cattle panel is the loofah gourd. So this little guy will take over everything. However, we gave him a little help and planted 2 loofah gourds. So here's the second one. He's doing a little bit better, but they're both looking great. So she might not have her good pea year, but by golly, she's gonna have a good green bean year.
That's right.
Look at this. That is like,
and it's take and give, because last year was actually a terrible bean year. The seeds got eaten before they could even sprout. If they did sprout, the beetles ate them. So this is great. It's gonna be a great bean year.
It's amazing. I mean, we had 100% germination from those Hoff seeds, and they look amazing. They're all consistent with their growth. That means we should be doing very well. Over here, we got some cucumbers that are attached to this cattle panel. And I just can't get over how well they look. Jen and I, we were talking, we probably should have ran a third row in the middle because green beans like to touch, but these will all get big enough and they're touching each other on side to side.
And then all these are, what are they called? Jack B. Little pumpkins?
No, they're not Jack B. Little, they're jack-o'-lantern.
Jack-o'-lantern pumpkins.
So it's just your normal plain Jane pumpkin patch pumpkin, which we're excited about having.
Yeah, we're gonna see how they do on this trellis. I know it's not conventional, but we'll see. If they need support, we'll give them support, but they're flowering. So we should get some action soon.
All right, so success story number 1, success story number 2, success story number 3, the tomato bed. Man, these tomatoes are taking off and looking absolutely beautiful. We've already got a bunch of green tomatoes on these plants and they all look so healthy. Now some, and honestly I'm seeing this in some of the more cherry tomatoes, we're having a little bit of leaf curl, and that usually either means overwatering or underwatering. We've had a lot of rain, so we're scratching it up to that. However, we've had some dry spells, so we've seen a lot of them starting to recover. But these bad boys are already, like, what would you say, 3 foot tall? Yeah. 3 foot tall plants. And look at some of these tomatoes on here, y'all. Aren't they beautiful? Man, that's when you know that we're in full swing of summer and we're about to have tomato sammies all day. Look over there. Much more right there growing. So a couple things I actually want to talk to you all about with these tomato plants. So if you're growing in tight area like we are here, like this is mass production, bunch of tomato plants all in a fairly small little area. We've already talked about the stakes, you know, that we need to tie them up, which we have already started doing. And we're actually just using our baling twine that we have. It gives and takes and all that good stuff, so it has good support, but it won't constrict them from growing. But the other big thing is making sure you're chopping off these bottom leaves down here. So we don't prune a whole lot, and we don't force our plants to just be one stem. So what I mean is in the armpit of your tomato plants, when it branches out, there'll be one that's shooting straight out and it actually pushes that branch down. That's called a sucker. A sucker is actually just a whole nother tomato plant. And so when you hear people saying we're keeping it to 1 stem or 2 stems or whatever that may be, that means they're keeping the main stock, and then if they're letting a sucker go off, that's their second stem. We don't do that. We let them get a little bit more bushy than that because we don't mind if they're touching together on in the top area, because we want the mass production that we can get. But you do need to trim those few bottom ones, because that is where the humidity is going to sit, and that's where if they're sitting in that dirt, they're going to get blight and they're going to get disease. So you want to make sure that they're not touching the dirt to have a good, successful tomato. What's up, wild man White?
What's up?
What's up? Good job on weed eating all them bears. They look good.
You did most of the part.
Yeah, I didn't do most of it. You did most of it. And then here on this counter panel, we have some sugar baby watermelons that are taking off. And then over here, we have some Kajari melons that are from our friend Mark. And this is the problem with straw. See this? That's not a weed. It's literally just from the straw. That's why it's, you know, it's hard to find a good mulch that doesn't lay seed on you. However, it's very easy to get out, but you do need to get it because you'll have grass growing everywhere. All right, our last failure that we have going on here, well, learning experience more than anything. When we say failure, we mean learning experience. Yes, it failed, but yes, we also learned a lot. So we tried to plant corn in this entire bed, and we planted it really well. We had about 0 germination, not because the seeds weren't working, but because the birds ate them all, even with the dogs in here. That was our problem. Birds, different stuff like that, got in here and ate all that corn, because if you remember, that's what they like to eat. That's part of their feed. So it's we've learned that we need to make sure that we're covering them in some form or fashion to make sure that we can get them germinated, and then they'll be fine from there. So we haven't decided what we're gonna put in here, but we will figure out. We might replant corn because it can be a fairly quick variety to turn around, but we'll see. Unfortunately, bad corn year. Now we're getting close to the best garden hack that you'll ever see, but I hope you haven't fast forward. Don't be that guy. Stay with us. We're almost there. All right, so that is the group of the primary garden, the big garden that we got going on. So some successes, some failures, not giving up, continue to work hard, continue to plant. One big thing is there's still plenty of time. Yeah. So if things aren't succeeding, tear it out, put something else in, and it'll grow. But now, we're in Jen's kitchen garden. It's looking really good.
It is. So this whole L here is bush beans as well. We're really excited about these. They're looking fantastic. The roots got disturbed a little, but they didn't care. They said, we don't care. We're gonna grow anyway. So I mean, they're huge. They're doing wonderful. That bed could use some more soil, but it's okay. We're gonna have a lot of beans this year. It's very exciting. Our garlic is so close to being done, if not already done. We're just kind of letting it sit, but we've gotten our scapes off of it. The plants, some are starting to die back, not all. Like some of these back here are still growing. But we've got maybe a month left, maybe less. We'll just kind of have to play it by ear. It's supposed to be around July, but they're looking like they're going to be ready before then.
So it is now June on this garlic. So like she said, we might have about a month left. The biggest thing is be patient. Don't start pulling them up. I understand if you have an abundance of garlic, go pick the smallest looking one. Like if it's just killing you inside and you gotta know what's in there, pick the smallest one and see what it looks like. Because if that one's decent size, then you know the rest are better. Don't go pull your best boy, because then he's gonna give you a false hope that everything's gonna look like him. So be patient, let them keep dying back. We're getting there. Because that garlic right now is putting all the effort into the bulb. That's why the plants are starting to die. Patience. So we completely cut this comfrey down to its nubs. And that's the cool thing about comfrey. She comes back with vengeance every time. And that's a good thing when it's an herb that you're cutting and hanging. So it's about time to do it again and get some more hanging. This is gonna be beautiful stuff for our comfrey salve and our pain relief massage oil that Jen makes that is in stock right now in the Etsy store.
So last but not least is our sweet potatoes. So we told you that our chickens were getting in mainly because we mulched with straw, and chickens love straw. They will find it. However, we found something that is keeping chickens away, cats away, rabbits, mice, voles, moles.
Would you say
rats.
it's the greatest garden hack we may have ever found?
I would.
All right, y'all ready?
Zach is going to demonstrate for us. There it is. They got him. So I'm gonna let him tell you about it, but I found this thing ashamedly on TikTok. Okay, so like I was trying to say, we turned it off now so we can show you. I found this thing on TikTok, and this girl said, I can't keep my chickens out of my garden, so she saw somebody have it, and I saw it, and I was like, this will be perfect.
So this bad boy is a motion detected sprinkler. It's awesome. So here's your motion detector. It is batteries, but it's all down in here. And here you can set it to the duration, so how long that you want it to spray, the range of the spray, and then here is a dial that gives you off, day, night, and always. So it does have sensors to know if it's day or if it's night. We set it to always because, you know, our chickens get up before we do. And cats. So that works. It does not use much water at all. You just make sure that duration's not there. And then here is your sprinkler itself. Simple hookup with just a water hose. It's a little inconvenient. However, if you got a split, like our water's right over there, that way you can still water your garden and just leave this one on all the time. But this thing has been a game changer.
So he mentioned that it's battery powered, which seems tough, but we put batteries in it when we got it, what, a week ago? A little over a week ago. Haven't changed them since. So it doesn't use much at all. Ideally it would be solar, but it's not.
I know, that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Probably upgrade number 2 will be a solar one.
Yeah.
But it is really awesome. And it's basically trained everybody.
It has. I mean, I don't know what they do at night because we're sleeping. I'm sure the cats probably prowl and try to get in. But as far as the chickens, they barely come over here anymore, which kind of sucks because it was really entertaining to watch them get sprayed by water.
And it really does work. You can do a height adjustment. So if you're noticing that it's catching when people walk by but not your chickens, you can tilt it down a little bit. And the biggest people that forget about it, us.
It gets us the most.
Because it's right in front of our front porch, which is where we walk down to the store. Yeah. So we'll just not even be thinking next thing, God, that was cold on the back. Yeah. But on these hot days, it's not bad.
Very worth the money, and it really does work. I swear, we're not sponsored by it. They didn't contact us. I found it on TikTok, like I said, and then I went and got it from Amazon. So there will be a link down below if it's something you're interested in. It truly works for all the animals because nobody wants to get sprayed with water. And before it even sprays them, it scares them because it starts and it startles you a little bit. But I think it's the greatest garden invention ever.
Absolutely, I would agree wholeheartedly. And then just real quick, we have 2 root pouches here that have some zinnias in it. The ferns are doing great, and the hanging baskets are doing great. I love how pretty this looks in the front. But there is one surprise that we're very excited to show. Over here, and next to the side porch, we have ground cherries growing. And I think we mentioned it last time, but this is a volunteer plant, and as you can tell, we got ground cherries all over the place. I mean, this is awesome because our ground cherries got ate up by the chickens before we had the sprinkler up, and I was like, dang, I really love this garden candy because it's so sweet and good. And then look here, you got plants there, a plant there, and a plant here. Couldn't have been a better volunteer plant than these ground cherries. The strangest part though with those is I'm not sure how they got there.
I have no idea.
That's not even where we would like throw them out, like after we ate them, you know, throw the tops off, because it was over here in the kitchen garden.
It makes no sense.
Something carried it over there. I guess here's the one thing that maybe happened is a lot fall off. Like when they get an abundance amount of ground cherries going, you can't keep up. I mean, there are so many. So maybe the chickens got a hold of them, and maybe that's what put them out. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, they're growing beautiful ground cherries and super pumped.
Yep.
You can tell the morning's sweating profusely over here, sneezing. Oh man.
We already milked. I mean, it's a lot, and it's like 9 o'clock. I don't even know if it's 9.
It's not.
Probably earlier. It's been a lot.
It's a lot. But we wanted to do this garden tour before it got too hot, to really stress with you all about the successes and failures of growing. When you're doing gardening, there's going to be highs and lows the whole season. And we know a lot of you all, pretty much everyone has their gardens in now, I think. There might be some of y'all in the far up north that are still waiting. But you're going to come across this. You're going to come across things that are just doing absolutely amazing, things that don't do nothing, and you're like, what happened? The biggest...
Or you might have a great green bean year, and then the next year you don't. Or you might have a terrible pea year, and you're like, I don't want to plant peas again because I can't grow them here. Don't say that. Just try again the next year, because as you saw from our garden compared to last year, everything is flip-flopped.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just got to keep trying.
That's exactly right. And with the times that they are right now, with the shortages, the price increases and everything, do not give up.
Yeah.
Keep planting. Even if you just have an overabundance of green beans, because that's what's growing,
Yeah.
plant more of them.
It's food.
It's food, and we need food in all of our pantries right now. It is a must do for everyone. So dig them hills in, like we keep saying, it's like turned into our motto, dig them hills in, and don't give up. Keep growing. Make sure that you have food for you and your family. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know down in the comments how your garden's doing. What are some of your successes and failures that you're seeing?
Yeah, let us know if you get the sprinkler too.
Yeah, let us know and how it works. Actually, if you are part of the Stiv Tribe on Facebook, post some pictures.
Yes, or videos.
Or videos.
Getting your animals. I swear, for the first few days, it's just worth the entertainment.
Oh yeah, most entertainment you'll ever see. But yeah, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below.
We love you.
Until the next one.
Bye.
Bye.